Hello again to each and every single one of you wonderful peoples found online with the information superhighway to another edition of the weekly series with episode 102 of Weird Mind Newsroom, where this week we have a selection of some new releases, some trailers in the focus of variety, and a news story or two in focus to talk on. So let's not waste time on all the focus and introductions, let's get to talking about all things media that we have to be shown for this week. So on the first of the two new releases that we do have for this week is with a return to the vast expanding world of superheroes and characters from a wider universes, with the focus on this next entry bringing the continuing narrative of the MCU, with this focus that in the world of other heroes past and present, that in the basis when the world's mightiest heroes might not be available, we may have to get some that may not be super, may not be heroes, but will have to do the job. As we have the end of the fifth phase of the expanding MCU and the second phase of the multiverse saga with the new team-up film of the Thunderbolts. The film will follow a group of anti-heroes getting themselves caught in a deadly trap set by Valentina Aguilera de Fontaine and are forced into a very dangerous mission that will have them deal with the dark parts of their past, and if successful could bring them redemption and be seen as real heroes if they work together as a team and they don't try to kill each other in the process. Reception on this new entry has seen a very strong critical reception with great praise to the redemption and focus on fan favorite characters, especially from focus leads of Florence Pugh and David Harbour, action scenes, humor, and for telling a more mature and deeper story with some respectful focus to themes of mental health and depression, and seen as a strong sense of the MCU getting back on track the way to Doomsday. I just literally only came in from it there about 10 minutes ago, and I will say it is a very good movie. I really relay with a lot of the themes and stuff, and I think they tackled it well, and I did get a little choked up and misty-eyed near the end, but I think it's very well done. I have my issues, but I'll get to a review eventually of that. But if you are up for this new ragtag group, you can catch this new film out now in cinemas. And as for our one other new release for this week is with a film that I'm sure if it were released a couple months ago or about a year ago, there would be a bit more of an appeal or fanfare to this project, but I feel with the focus of one lead character of this movie and their character dynamic in this relating to a little too close to what's been going on in the real world, it's kind of going to be a bit of a concern. But in the base, when you think you know someone, it leads to a ruse, a bamboozle, or a lie, you don't expect them to suddenly reappear again for one thing. But in the base of this film, that's what we get, as we have the sequel to the 2018 Paul Feig movie of Another Simple Favor. In the film, we'll see Stephanie Smothers, played by Anna Kendrick, agreeing to travel to Italy to be the maid of honor for the devious and cunning Emily Nelson, played again by Blake Lively. However, she soon suspects Emily's goodwill is part of an elaborate plan for revenge. The reception for this film is a bit mixed, but modest at best from the critics, though the audiences are a lot more split on the opinion due to one of the lead performers, as Case Lively of the film, and the whole ongoing legal issues and drama from another project they were on, and for some feeling the film is an unnecessary sequel or lacking the appeal of the original. But if you are morbidly curious, you can catch the new film out now on Amazon Prime. And with all of that, that's all the new releases that we do have for this weekend.
3 hours with a close-up magician.
Now on the first of the trailers for this week is an all-new project taking the focus of the life and career of a famous name in the industry that paved the way for future careers. With this case, with the focus of a famous star in the sports fighting scene. And the actor in focus for this is one that you wouldn't expect in this type of genre, or in particular you can kind of know him for like a one-trick pony, a lot of people say, though this could be worth a career-defining moment, as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is getting back in the ring to tell the life of another fighter with a trailer for the new film of The Smashing Machine. Now, the new film will see The Rock play former wrestler and MMA fighter Mark Kerr as we experience and see the focus of the peak of his career in the industry. But in the journey of that success, we'll see him face some personal hardships along the way, and how he will make a recovery in his relationships, his health, and his career to make him an iconic name for the industry for years to come. So I've seen some images and marketing for this film over the last few weeks, and the most noticeable thing from all of this is the sudden change and transformation done for The Rock to make him look like the iconic sports star. And I think the weirdest thing for me is seeing The Rock again with hair, as it's been about like 2 decades since like the mid-2000s when The Rock had hair in like some of the early films like Race to Witch Mountain or The Game Plan kind of thing, and then he just went like the full-on like, you know, bald head and big muscles kind of thing. But besides all of the transformation content, I think from what they've shown here, it looks really great, and I feel if it works out well, it could be a possible awards contender, but the jury is still out on that for the moment. But we can make a judgment probably once they get hits the film festivals, but we will see soon enough ourselves when the film releases into cinemas from October 3rd this year. Our second trailer is one that technically had some form of a teaser released last week, but they were a bit short in terms of length and to my rule settings to really give an in-depth appeal and discussion on it, and to be creeped out by, but we can talk on it now this week and wonder if a strange coincidence occurred for one class group with with no explanation or understanding as to what happened. How far does the mystery go, and how sinister does this become? Well, we will find out with this new project, as horror auteur Zach Krieger, director of Barbarian and this year's Companion, is bringing a new level of horror to a small town with a trailer for his new film of Weapons. Now, the film will tell of a strange mystery that occurs in a small community town, where one night, exactly 2:17 a.m., all but one child from the same classroom suddenly wake up, walk downstairs, walk out the front door, and disappear into the night with no explanation and never seen again, and leaves the community left questioning who or what is behind his appearances, and why is it only with one teacher's classroom. So like this was with the small ARG marketing they've started to do with this, they have started to do for this film already makes me unsettled. And I have had the thought that if I woke up in the middle of the night and just start seeing children running down the street and disappearing at night with no rhyme or reason, it would probably freak me out heavily. As despite the likes of my known fear of hemophobia, which is the fear of intense blood and gore, the likes of demon children or the ones of the black-eyed children do creep me the fuck out as well. And I have had the marketed trailers telling us enough, but also keeping it very vague is what I love, and it gives me a little bit of vibes of last year's Longlegs marketing, which was also a brilliant marketing tactics. And I've also heard it apparently connects in some ways to his well-known original horror movie of Barbarian, but how it is currently unclear as of now, but I'm sure we will get more of an idea as to how this all comes about. I look forward to checking this out, and you can as well when the film releases into cinemas from August 8th. And the last of the trailers for this week is we'll see a lot of the trick of the hand, a lot of illusion and magic up close and far away, and bring in a sense of mystery and use it to bring something powerful in their skills. As after a near decade gap since the last movie, they have brought together the Four Horsemen once again with a new film that should have probably been the title of the last entry in the series, but we have the trailer for the upcoming sequel of Now You See Me, Now You Don't. So in the basis of this new story, the film will see the magic group of thieves, the Four Horsemen, reunite after separating some time ago and have recruited 3 new highly talented illusion magicians and bring them in for a heist for them to steal the largest queen diamond in the world from a family crime syndicate and deal with the consequences through the use of magic. So the likes of the series has been one I've seen as having some array of appeal over the years, with an interesting idea of magicians doing heists, and I can see the appeal of the original. The sequel having a bit more of a mixed response to it, but had fans, and overall there is some appeal in seeing the illusions and methods they use for their magic when doing their crimes, and what I can see from this one is that it looks interesting and probably worth a watch, and I'm sure we may be spellbound or end up being tricked. But we shall see when the outcome when the film releases into cinemas from November 14th of this year. And with all of that, that's all the new trailers that we do have for this week as well.
I'm on a cell phone, it's real big, like the 80s.
So now on to our news for this week, and the first of the stories has a selection of films that focus on some more discussions about the world of superheroes, as we have some early discussions of or some updates to a few concepts and projects in the works for both sides of Marvel and DC that we can talk about for this week. And some have excitement, some have reasons, and some bring an appeal to the end of an ordeal, but let's get to talking what exactly those are. So first was a story I actually missed on talking about from last week, and is with an update to a product that had some effect of its release. And that is of course with the new movie of Superman. So to get people caught up to ordeal, if you're not unaware, a couple of weeks ago, the estate that owns the rights to the character had apparently set up a lawsuit towards Warner Bros. And probably some of the production team for their base of some revenue or royalties not being paid properly to their estate for the use of the character, with this mainly be seen effect for the countries of Ireland, the UK, Australia, and Canada, basically with UK tax laws or something like that kind of thing, which could have affected their release of not getting a chance to be shown in these countries. As well as I believe there was about some false promise of planning to use the character in more projects when he was lacking in appearances, which possibly explained Man of Steel's development, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. Well, we've got an update as of Friday of last week with the announced that the lawsuit has been dismissed and dropped by the courts, with it mainly having to do with a lack of international jurisdiction on the matter. So it seems the case the likes of this being delayed or not releasing in a few countries have been avoided for the time being. Not saying the state could probably try this again in the future, but it's hard to really say right now. But at least if anything, we can now look forward to seeing the new take on The Last Son of Krypton later this summer and not have to worry about a new release date wait. As for the one other piece of DC related news that we do have for this week, it's in relation to another project that has been announced recently, and the focus of the news reporting from this week, the outcome on this has been a bit all over the place, and understanding what the ordeal is, we'll get into in this regards. And this is with the film adaptation of the DC character of Sergeant Rock that has been developed by Challengers and queer director Luca Guadagnino, and presumably now being eyed to be played by Colin Farrell after Daniel Craig apparently dropped out due to some possible schedule conflicts. And to clarify as well, I know Colin Farrell is already in the DC universe as the Penguin in the Batman universe, but that is a separate universe to the Gunn and Safran's universe. Now, what has been going on for the last week about this project is a bit all over the place, where the initial first news stories about this project was that it was announced the film had been cancelled and shelved at the company, and for a brief bit of time, there was no reason or explanation as to why that was. Now, a short bit later, we did get a proper update and clarification as to now it was confirmed it's not actually been cancelled, but rather it's on hold for the moment for the start of production. The reason on this hold was that they were looking to have this as a summer shoot in the UK to get this film developed, and likely case was that the film was probably still not fully developed or written yet or fully casted in the roles that started this summer, so starting this summer was probably a bit too soon. They were offered a chance to film it in the winter, but it was not a choice on their end, and the late 2025 production star declined it, and the likely case of this project starting now production probably in the spring or summer of next year, with released in a year or 2 years later or something like that, but they want to release it and start production when it is ready. Now, I think personally that makes complete and total sense, because if they were to just rush it out, it would end up being a mess or incomplete. In all sense, DC can work around this scheduling because they have other projects already in the line. They're currently wrapping up filming the new Supergirl. They're starting production in the early fall for the Clayface movie, and then they have like Superman this year. They've probably got that Batman movie as well, and they've probably got Teen Titans being worked on. So there's a few they're still working on that regards. So I feel it makes total sense to give the time and place to make right for it in that regards. It'll be interesting to see if this will all stick to planned production day or if it will probably be shelved, but I guess we'll have to find a wait and see if the Sergeant will finally fight for another day. And lastly on the superhero stories, we're now head over to Marvel for this last story, as we have a selection of films on the way with a new film out this week. As I mentioned already, Ironheart next month with very little or no marketing at all, so I'm questioning what is going on there, as well as that Black Panther series in August, Fantastic Four in July, some more shows in the fall and winter including Wonder Man and Marvel Zombies, and early concept project, them starting filming on Doomsday this week more properly. But like I said, another early concept project cannot be discussed. And that's of course with everyone's favourite foul-mouthed Merc himself of Deadpool. As on Friday this week, there was some news announced that Ryan Reynolds himself was in the early stages of concepting a new team-up film between DP and a few members of the X-Men, with the projected number right now being at 4 mutants. It's unclear as the likes of one that will be his co-star of Wolverine from his previous outing, but I'm sure we will learn more as the project develops. It also comes to effect of wondering if this will have some more mass appeal, or the likes of Reynolds being connected in the ongoing lawsuit with his wife from one of the more previous projects will have an effect to this appeal, but we can't really judge on this right now, and we're not going to go too deep into it anyway. The idea of him teaming up with other mutants again would be nice, and maybe to give some more screen time to the X-Men they had in the first of the two of these films of Colossus and NTW, but right now we have no clear idea as to who is involved, and I'm sure we will learn more of this project over time, and once I do hear anything I shall update in a later episode. But what do you think of these announcements? Are you happy the lawsuit for Superman is over, and do you still see this possibly having effects down the line? Do you see Sergeant Rock releasing, and will you watch it if it does? And are you interested in a Deadpool X-Men team up, and which mutants would you like to see him team up with? Let me know what your own choices are down below, we can discuss about them there. The second story for this week is bringing a sense of some news that for the last year and a bit has been a common and reoccurring outcome in the industry in particular, and as the basis of this outcome for this week has seen an effect of a project that many had hoped we would eventually see the release of and return of a franchise with potential, but it seems we may be a lost cause now, and that is with the ongoing layoffs for video game developer studios. Now, we've seen some of the big studios since around mid or late 2023 see a lot of dismissals due to either likes of cuts, budgets, or other means, and that's hit some companies like Microsoft, Sony, Bethesda, Blizzard, and probably many others. One or two that may not be accurate, but for some big name companies have seen this happen to them. And the most recent one has been seeing some layoff popped up in the news is of course with a company mainly known for their sports titles at this rate, which is of course EA. Now, what you may not know at this point now is that EA actually does make games, besides the usual copy-paste sports affair, what it looks like to me personally, as they have also made some other franchises or titles like of course the Sims franchise, or some big award-winning games like It Takes Two, A Way Out, and this year's Split Fiction, just to name a trio of games from one studio. And to focus on some other big studio layoffs that has affected another franchise, it seems interesting at first, had potential with the follow-up, and many hope for a sequel. And that's of course with the franchise of Titanfall. Now, with the announcement around 300 staff being laid off, it has caused the announcement of a tactical shooter that was based in the world of this series was initially in the works, but has now been scrapped, which brings a lot of frustration and pain to a lot of gamers that were hoping for a new entry in this series at some point. Now, it's not the first time a follow-up to Titanfall has been scrapped or reworked, as an initial form of a third game in the series was in the works before it was reworked into the game of Apex Legends, so the teasing of the series has been a long thing for nearly a decade now at this point. It's a shame, as I can see the potential of this series to do well, as with its unique concept. Like, the first one was interesting idea and kind of like was like lacking some stuff. Then the sequel came along, had a really great campaign as a multiplayer, so it had potential they could have like really took off. So maybe it's just in case of some issues or something, but hopefully, I do hope we like to see the franchise and project can be reworked again and get a follow-up at some point, as many wait so long just for it, and I can see some success of the outcome in this regards. And I do hope as well that all those that were laid off from these studios as well, or any other company, will bounce back very soon and will be back making great games or whatever they want to make as passion projects for many more years to come. So hopefully it's quick enough. But what do you think of this? Are you sad for another attempt at Titanfall not getting a chance to release, and do you hope that there will be a new entry in the series at some point, or would you play it in particular if it does? Let me know what you think down below. Well, I think that might be everything. Was that? There's been a second delay. Well, this last story was kind of expected, and breaking news in particular, to appear at some point, but another the industry has getting about to see a lot of mixed reaction from, because on Friday of this week, Rockstar announced that their highly anticipated long-awaited Grand Theft Auto 6 game has been delayed out of 2025, and now currently has a planned release date for May 26, 2026, which I guess is to make sure it has to avoid the likes of any crunch time, overworking, and making sure developers and visuals and everything in between is the best it can be in this day and age. And I'm all personally fine with this delay. Now, this isn't really new when it comes to Rockstar, as the likes of these delays have been a common thing for years now with all their different titles. As most recently, Red Dead Redemption 2 experienced a similar outcome, with it being announced in October 2016, was projected for a fall 2017 release, and then delayed to spring the following year before releasing on the late October 2018. And GTA 5 also had that as well, as a delay from March 2013 to mid-September that year, so it was likely case this was also going to get a delay, and there have been rumblings of this delay for a few weeks now, since probably the beginning of this year, so it's kind of expected. My thoughts on are that doesn't overly bother me, and I think giving enough time and dedication to it will make it work and make it the best and biggest thing ever, so I'm fine with this delay. Because if you rush a game out, it's going to be a mess. If you give it enough time to develop on it, it will be pretty much great all the time. Now, it's a case, do I see it sticking a new release date? Maybe. I think it might get a slight delay or push up by about maybe 2-3 weeks or so, but we will see as more time comes along. I'm sure now we can finally get some new look at the game soon enough, but we'll watch this space when time does come to talk about. But I want to know your thoughts on this. Are you disappointed in the delay of GTA 6, or do you think it's a perfectly reasonable thing for them to do? Let me know what you think down below. With all that, that's all the new news stories that we do have for this week.
My head completely empty.
So now, in the case with all of this regards, that ends episode 102 of Weird Mind Newsroom, and I do hope you enjoyed my ramblings for yet another week. Anyways then, let's get to a bit of a roundup of some updates in the regards. Okay, so reviews. The Last of Us review is currently still underway. I'm just going to try and power through in some bits of that. Might type up some bits after editing this later tonight, watching the next episode of the series. We'll see how it goes. Season 2 so far has been pretty good. I don't know whether or not either case maybe delay it and do both seasons at once, but we can maybe split that in 2 videos, but I'll see in that regards. Other ones I had in mind I was thinking about earlier while I was recording is maybe just take all the list ones I have of my short ones and kind of just do a whole barrage of just short reviews between 1 to 3 minutes on my YouTube, and just do it's the YouTube short stuff, and probably upload them to my social media and to maybe my TikTok or some of that kind of case, because I want to at least build on those as well. There might be some other ones I might go through from the last few years and do kind of short wise, or just check the other ones from my normal length reviews or long form reviews to kind of do my thoughts on them, but we'll see in that regard. So maybe you might see them in the next couple of days, but we'll see. Hopefully, maybe just fly through them, we'll see in that regards. But look forward to those reviews. The Last of Us one will come as well, War Season 1 comes as well, all the other stuff is coming, so look forward to that. Gameplay wise as well, so as of recording this, I uploaded the first part of Star Wars Outlaws, which you can check online. Question in case whether or not the guy that's in the video looks like me, the main antagonist. The jury's out on that. You can let me know in the comments if it does look like that, and you can check it down below or just the annotation above. And the case as well of wondering some other games will be probably coming along as well in that regard. So Cyberpunk is also coming. Mario is also going to be coming back as well. Be more Star Wars recordings. I have some more games I have to play as well. I bought Black Myth Wukong recently. I have Avatar there. I've got Dead Space. I bought Princess Peach Showtime, and then a few other like Switch games and stuff like that. So maybe a few of them I might hold off on the Switch too, but we can see. We'll see down the line in that regards. But look forward to those as well. So you can let me know as well anything like PC, PS3, PS4, Wii U, Switch, all other console stuff like that. Let me know what games you want to see me play down below. I'm still looking forward as well in case for my PC. For PC, the first one would be Ventilate. I'm just waiting for that release date and support some fellow people I care about. And in case then some long form stuff, the AI video will be coming along eventually. The more audience choices will be coming as well. More long form in that regard. Horror Most Bore will come. Rewatchathon will come. All these other ones will be coming as well. So just look forward to them. I'm gonna get focused on this, get my mental health in check because it's still fucked. Maybe do a video about the importance of mental health and just like but I think in all regards, I think I'll leave it there for now. But anyways, if you enjoy my content, want to see more from me more frequently, then simply like and subscribe. I upload new stuff every single week. And hoping by the end of this month, it's now the 4th of May, so happy Star Wars Day to everyone. It's the case as well to hopefully reach 500 subs by the end of this month, so we're about 130 on. We can see. If we get to 400 or 420 by the 2nd anniversary, I'll still be great about that. So we'll see in that regards. We'll get there. We'll work it out. But I hope you enjoy my content. Let me know your thoughts on everything that was discussed this week down below. Of everything like the new releases, the trailers, and the news stories, and give your thoughts on them as well. And I'll pop in as well and give some conversations. I love to have a community chat with everyone. As well as the case if you're new here, welcome. If you're a long time fans, thank you for genuine supporting me in all regards. May not be the best, but I appreciate all the support. And if you're ones that kind of like went away for a bit and want to come back, you're always welcome to. As always, you all stay being wonderful people. Have a great day every day, doing many great things, and keeping you because no one else can do what you do. Now, of course, I've been your host, Sam, and I wish you all the very best, and, take care of yourself. And I shall see you all in the next episode, so take care, and I'll see you later.